What's up, everybody? Uh, I am here today with CivilMonkey. How are we doing today, Civil?
We're doing great. I did a run, listened to music, good day, and also did yeah, a couple online things. But yeah, it's good.
I love that. No, I know it's been an absolute wild day. It's been a blast to be a part of what's been going on Artizen over the last few months for me, but especially today where, your project was the first project that hit 1 billion points, through an awesome collective collaboration today. And it's just like kind of seeing that roll through, seeing different artisan groups kind of come together and now kind of really starting to get some of my folks more involved through that. Has been an absolute blast. So I'm excited to chat more with you, and dive in deeper to A, who is Civil, and then B, what is Artisan. And you're one of the individuals who's definitely helped teach me more about Artisan and different parts of crypto and blockchain. So it's been an absolute blast to get to know you better, as well as dive deeper into finding ways to come in and support you, as I've seen you come in and support many other people along the way.
Wow, yeah, it has been a blast to know you, and I'm super glad that like our path not only crossed but like led to more and more conversations. And yeah, super grateful for you, honestly. Like it's always good like in these online streets to find people to actually have like genuine conversations with. And yeah, I for longest time I just listened to things, which also is very good, but I didn't seek out one-on-one conversations. And so yeah, really glad that you're one of the people now. And yeah, we are oftentimes just jamming, and now we're on a live stream. That's crazy.
I
Thank
love
you.
it, 1,000,000%. It's an absolute blast. You're right. We many times, off the cuff, you just call me and then we jam for anywhere from 5 minutes to hours, right? And that's an absolute pleasure for me. I think one of the things you said was super important. Um, for some time, I was kind of a bystander, watching, coming in and helping support. But then when I took kind of the reins of like finding a project that I wanted to endorse myself, of like me running something, I was able to take many different reins on and then kind of challenge myself and then grow my capabilities, right? Because I feel like that action part of me is a big part I learned when I was younger. That's super important. That it's like, especially in entrepreneurship, as I was starting out, and a lot of people say like, okay, like I'm an idea person, or like I have all these great ideas, but I can't XYZ reason get them out. And I think the biggest thing that you can do from like an idea to like make it real is like actually do actions towards that, making that idea a reality, right? And that part is the part that if you're working towards a goal, that's what a success is, as Earl Nightingale says. So, and I like to have that as like, when you have a project, you have a very well defined goal usually. Hopefully, if you have a project, you have a well defined goal. And I know that's something you've also been working on yourself, of like, okay, as I've now created this project, I've now changed and adapted what the project and the goal is to more align with where I want to go in the future because of XYZ reasons. So it's been a real cool blast to see all the people you've support you've supported in the last few many years come in and support you today. But I would love for you to give just like a little intro. Who is Civil Monkey? I think I met you first through the DAO spaces, the X spaces, as well as many other regen spaces, but the DAO ones specifically. And then I just at some point hit you up and we popped on a call. And I've loved the conversation that we've been able to have around what I've been building, because it's very much a blessing to have you in the conversation for how I can actually leverage something that I'm building to be unique. And if you've seen something that I'm looking towards that has been out there, you kind of give me that heads up and be like, hey, take a look at this, or whether it's an active thing or like the founder is somewhere else. Being able to give that resource and support other individuals in that capacity is super huge. So I want to say appreciate you for doing that for me. But who is Civil Monkey?
Yeah. Um, it's so the name comes from this mix of always the natural, the primitive, the primal, the nature side of things, and the civilized, the technical, the evolved, the like kind of the intuitive side of things, and the more like rational and like thought, thinking first kind of side of things, like different parts of the brain, different parts of ways of doing things, and how they're always together. And that's kind of where this like CivilMonkey word and pseudonym came from. Yeah, and yeah, it's so. But yeah, um, who am I? I mean, that's definitely pretty.
Why don't you say who are you in the general? Let's start with Web3 space and then jump over to Artizen, right? Like for I met you through the Web3 space and blockchain as a whole. How did you come into that, and who, and did that, is that where you started your pseudonym, and or lead that into, you kind of joining Artizen and then actually putting your project out on Artizen?
Yeah. So okay. So the pseudonym did start before
Okay.
Web3. Um, so basically, I've never really been on social media before. Like just never had Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook. Never had any of it. And then kind of fell more or less into like some tiny scale like campaigning for like democracy and ecology things, when there was like a deadline, like a election going on. And then like in the just like last minute, I kind of said like, okay, yeah, this feels aligned, this group, like let me put some effort into it, and I don't know, just like speak with people and put about stickers everywhere and anywhere and flyers and all of that. And then at some point during that process, I was like, okay, if I'm putting these on like all these interesting places, on like some, I don't know, stickers on windows and like in the metro and whatever, it looks kind of interesting. And like, I don't know, different stickers. Like I just not even just campaign ad stickers, even literal ad stickers that says no ads, like that you can put usefully like on your letterbox, to say like no ads, please. But I don't know, just different, but like that had like a logo of that campaign or whatnot. So that led to me thinking, okay, this is maybe this is the moment to start social media, to like post photos of that, or like maybe hashtags or whatever. I didn't really know what or if or how or whatever. And so the big challenge, of course, was, okay, what do I do? Like who? Because I wanted to do it a little more, I don't know, intentional. And I saw like this could be something like very artful, and like this is the internet. Like I can be whoever I want, however I want. This can be a conceptual account, whatnot. And so I had a few ideas for names. And in the end, I was like, okay, like this campaign is for me about democracy and protecting nature and whatnot. And so I think CivilMonkey makes sense. And I was always into technology and into nature, and like always curious about both, like always really enjoying and appreciating nature. Always a big like recharging for me to go in the forest and spend some time there. And at the same time, also many times, just, I don't know, listening to technology explanations and just helping every day with tech questions. So I've never like really, yeah, I'm not like a huge programmer or anything, but I don't know. Sometimes in some groups, I'm like helping with tech stuff, right? And so
I think it's
um,
different niches, right? Like sometimes the niche of tech compared to someone who's not doing anything in that in their day to day, it's very different, right? So it's like you can help with those surface level questions and get people to the right other people, which is a skill I pride myself in, and I think you're a phenomenal individual who does that and like uses that as a resource of like, I know the potential, right resource to get that done, whether or not I can help out with that, which I think is awesome in chatting with you and connecting with you. So it's been really interesting to hear that you never started with social media. So remind me again. So what was the first social media then that you joined?
Twitter, when it was
Okay.
still Twitter in 21. Actually, my first account is also suspended, so that's not there. Um, it's like, So yeah, but
That could lead
exactly.
us on the decentralized social question very quickly, right? But
I mean,
we'll keep it on Artisan for today.
it's
It's
certainly, certainly connected.
there. Although someone did ask me, and I did think that this is not a bad idea, and I would be willing to start it and add other people as curators. But create an artisan project for helping create the CTO with Cassie. I'd be willing to like help steward that. And I am not separate sidebar, but we can talk more about that later. It was an interesting conversation that someone brought up, and I was like, at this second, right now, I'm doing too much that I wouldn't commit to that, but I would definitely lead someone that's very active and involved that wants to do that. So I was like leveraging Artisan as another different way to help support a different project that I'm very excited about and passionate about. So I would love to also know how you met Artisan, and then like how that kind of growth from the beginning of the time you joined to when you actually released your first project had been of like the different people you knew on the platform.
Before we go there, okay, before we go there, I actually want to say a big thank you to Trish and Cyrus for bringing me on Farcaster in 2023.
Huh,
Yeah, that's those two people are the reason why I joined Farcaster. But yeah, after I waited far too long, and that's also something that happens with Artisan, which is I've seen Artisan around. I mean, since maybe even 23, but definitely like in 24, I think, and then 25 for sure, quite a bit. People in our spaces, in our weekly spaces, talking about Artisan and all of that, and I was like, okay, yeah, interesting for sure, but I don't know if I have capacity right now to understand everything, and it seems like a lot. And so yeah, I never really took the time to dig into it. But then I don't know really honestly what was the moment that changed that, but it just like became like significantly bigger on my radar. Um, and I'm trying to remember if there was a specific thing. Oh, actually, I remember at least one moment, which is like, um, so I finally like made an account at some point last year, I think, and then I hit the boost button, and there was like a huge visual effect, like a visual effect, and I messaged Renee the fun. I was like, "Oh, this is so cool! This is great!" Like, and that like that was a moment of joy. Like I don't know, it's
that's
that that
cool.
that that actually really stuck with me.
Huh,
Yeah. So yeah, I think that was sometime last year. Um, and then I don't know. It just I was thinking about this today that like a few years ago I was thinking about different funding platforms and like what mm, just like I don't know failed ones that people have started and then challenges with existing ones and some things that are going well and whatnot. And I was thinking like, okay, how can these maybe be consolidated and kind of salvage the ones that perhaps failed? And one of the things was that like 2 week sprints of quadratic funding rounds every few months just didn't really seem sustainable, or like, well, it just seemed like like a burst of energy in a quite condensed time window. And so one of the things I wanted to do, or like I thought would be good to do, is like these longer things. So that's one of like, and an artisan season is like half a year, right? And so I don't know. I think that was like one of the things that also made sense, and just like the fun, I guess, like just this like visual effect of clicking boost. I don't know, like it's a fun thing, and like it is super important, like when you use things, that there's some level of fun and not just frustration. Like it is, yeah, it's not fun to use something that's constantly frustrating.
1,000,000%. I think that's one of the biggest challenges with many uh, businesses as a whole out there is like as a user it needs to be a fun experience, especially with software and UI. So it's cool to hear that one like real big moment gave you the spark to start you down that rabbit hole of like reaching out to the founder, talking to him, and then whatever those next steps were that kind of got you deeper and deeper into learning more about Artizen. And then kind of, do you want to share about like I've noticed in seeing and chatting with you over the last few weeks and months that you've actually, whether individuals have been on Artizen before or are new to Artizen, you've actually met a lot of these individuals in your other travels in different places. So I think that's a really cool, perspective that I've been able to see, and I'd love to know like how that's been for you, or what you've seen with that.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a it feels like a big part of the story overall, that like it's so important to meet people in person, and it's just kind of an acceleration of trust building, and also of seriousness. Like it just, like when I started going to conference, also after, it took me a few years after just being online pretty much exclusively, to go to events and meet people in person, and it just feels like it gives that much more seriousness and that much more like realness at the end of the day. And so now, when I'm collaborating with and speaking with people maybe that I've just like met for one afternoon, 2 years ago, but that makes a huge difference. And yeah, then both sometimes learning from them about Artizen, sometimes helping explain. But yeah, that it just sort of evolved, and over the last half year, I feel like Artizen has become more and more a big part of my life, and like not even having my own project for the longest time, but just, I don't know, being fascinated, and being like, okay, this is in many ways quite different than funding platforms and mechanisms and approaches that I'd seen previously. And so, yeah, I was interested to understand a bit more, I guess. Yeah, but how does that connect? So the meeting people in person. So then, well, I guess one part of the story is also that I started hosting in-person Artizen events, in over the last few months, and yeah, kind of connected people to host them, even if I'm not organizing them myself sometimes. So yeah, that's been a lot
You
of
want to tell
fun.
us more about that experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's been so I would say, I've like over the last few years, it's always been like connecting the dots that I feel like need to be connected, and the people, right? That's what I do. But then helping out at events also showed me, okay, yeah, this is really meaningful, and it's basically just creating a container for connecting people. It's just like basically making it more accessible, and making it more approachable, essentially. And so event organizing became more and more of an avenue to channel energy into. And so, producing events, for Artizen in the last few months was quite a big step into like doing a thing that has a rather established job description, so to say. Like connector is not as much of like, not yet, or weaver or something like that. It's not as much of an established job description than event manager or event organizer.
Totally.
And so that also, kind of helped to say, now, okay, what do? I organize events. Uh, that's something that's more
I
understandable. But yeah,
100% understand that. There was definitely a period of time in 2024 when we were organizing events that I actually understood the value of like participating and partaking in that, and then like sharing that, as like you said, like that is a very defined thing that people understand wherever you're coming from background wise. So that's been really interesting. That's cool that you've been able to do Artizen events and then meet more Artizen people, I imagine, in person and throughout that experience alone, I'm sure, has been really cool because that's a very specific Artizen in-person experience. I would love
Yeah.
to join one sometime.
I mean, at the end of the day, so for example, one event that we did was an evening event, essentially bringing together activists and artists after a privacy conference. And so that was also close to the privacy conference, and we did invite like very non-technical artists as well who had nothing to do with the digital world, quite intentionally. And also, yeah, we had acoustic music, an incredible jazz singer, really fantastic, and dancing, and that was really like I always try to bring together worlds, right, that sometimes wouldn't meet otherwise. And so it was meant to be during a busy conference week, an evening of like acoustic, relaxing, and connecting in a way, to a large extent, and that also involved a handful of people who were already utilizing Artizen, and so it was an interesting mix. Yeah. Sorry. It's been a busy day. Feel free to ask very specific
No,
questions.
you're good. This is great because I'm really excited about the like intersection of everything we're doing digitally with in-person events specifically geared towards musicians and music performances and helping musicians get distribution, before, during, and after that, leveraging that in-person event with the digital, augmentation. So that part of Artisan that you've been a part of that you have experience on is really interesting to me as well. So feel free to take it into a different direction, or we can just dive a little bit deeper into what happened today, and kind of I'd love to hear your perspective on everything that happened, and maybe some of your background explanations on some small things that are unique to Artisan that are, you said the boost points is the one of the UI things that like it really drove you to diving deeper into the platform. What are the different parts of Artisan? I know it'd be a little complicated to explain today without explaining some of those parts of Artisan, like the fund drive. I can also explain it if you would like.
At the end of the day, what's interesting about Artisan, I feel like, is um, the game and playing and creativity lens, basically, that's like through which you look at everything. Right? That's kind of the yeah, the world view, I guess, or like that's the entryway. Like you play Artisan, and it's in a creative, like all of those things are very core to Artisan. And artist, it stands for artist and citizen, right? So it's always connected
Mm.
to like the also the civic world, and civil society, and all of those things. Which so sometimes for people that are in the Web3 space, I say like Artisan is the best combination that I'm aware of NFT ideas and public goods funding ideas.
I like that. I think there's a lot of value in the ability to go peer to peer with those ideas, leveraging the technology of NFTs 100%.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a lot of potential, and there's also ways to use, like, for example, artifacts are NFTs, right? In the Privy wallet right now, that is with every Artisan account, that comes along with every Artisan account. But and so there are ways to use them as to token gate, and there will be more ways, or like I don't know exactly what the ways, if it's, but those are like technically already NFTs. So once it's possible to send them out, and to export the private key, and to like use that wallet as a like import it into a different one, that can totally just be the token gating token like any other would be. But like the interface and the focus on a simple to use interface is I really sound like a salesperson, don't I? I'm sorry. It's not a sales artisan, but like that's what's like that focus on that the basically the and that it is usable as an interface. That doesn't mean that everything is understandable, but it means that it's usable, and connect that connected with the creative and like emotional, like real kind of feelings approach, quote unquote, which like is a similar thing to saying that it's focused on playing games, which is to say that it's more so focused on that than it is on focusing on the perfect mechanism or the perfect protocol design. That, in my opinion, is a lot closer to reality and to psychology, which psychology is very key to fundraising,
Mhm.
a lot more than mechanism design, honestly. And so, yeah, when you're talking about a fundraising crowdfunding platform, it's super important to really think through the psychological aspects and the steps that people take and have to take. And yeah, that needs to be front and center. And I think Artisan is on a good path there.
1,000,000%. Jose said it really well. Artisan is the most experimental on centralized terms. It has been a long learning curve of experimentation. A long time ago, I showed Artisan to philanthropy, decentralization folks who didn't want to play with it at all, but maybe now it seems interesting. Yeah, I think it's all about perspective as well, which is really cool because, like you said there, Jose, the long learning curve of experimentation, that is one of the fun things that brought Civil here, right? Because without the experimentation of that boost points UI, that wouldn't have led you down the starting the rabbit hole a little bit more, or would have led down a different path. So I love the experimentation side of it. I definitely agree with that, Jose. And we got Jimbo Mage saying, "Hope you guys are doing well, doing wonderful. Thanks for jumping in." And then the last thing Jose just said was, "Game theory is a good way to put the artisan framework." Someone autopoietic, good to zoom in into it. And I love game theory. Like that is to me one of the most interesting things about like trading card games, which is the one of the biggest reasons I came into Web3, and then also just like games in general, trading card games as well as board games. I love them to death. I love the game theory of them all. I love like finding new games and playing them with people because I love trying to find the best game theory way of playing things out. And I love the games that give different people of different like skill sets and like backgrounds and perspectives of like how they play games of in game theory opportunities to win the game. As opposed to just like people who like it a specific way. And that always like really excites me because I can share that with some people in my family who we all have different like styles of play, and it's always fun when different people can win. So I think that's a really fun way of like describing what Renee is trying to do with Artisan, and I love that because I really respect and love the way he's going at taking feedback from people, being able to leverage um, automation to support, excuse me, building the business around the things that he's not great at and really honing in on the things he's good at, which I think is taking in that information and input and putting it into the platform and like putting that love there. But I think that experimentation is kind of part of that game theory as well. Is like the the one thing you need to find for distribution and like getting more people and people to pay attention and energy on the internet, I feel like, is people's attention span to something specific. And if you can have the reason people can get better and play the game better as paying attention and being a part and being active, I think that'll always lead to successful and good positive communities because if you're doing it in the right way, of course. And I think Renee is going about that really well. I saw you may have had a comment about that specifically, but all those comments appreciate. I love the game theory part of it. That's the most interesting part of it to me.
Yeah, game theory is one aspect of it, and but I think experimenting and intuition are sometimes even more important. And I think Renee does a really good job at taking those well into account and also making it playful. Like you can
Yeah.
use game theory to design really interesting systems that appear to be very close to perfect, but that do not in fact reflect any type of anything close to perfect behavior, because it never gets to any meaningful behavior because it's not compatible with humans, because in theory.
No,
um,
I love that. That's exactly what I've run into as a challenge, and that I've found individuals that are really good at those like design things and quirks that'll get me from a very like simple like this is goes to this and this is like this is what I want to like something that looks visually pleasing and like actually creates emotion, which is I think something that is very important in that realm as well, right?
yeah.
I love it. Well, we've been going for 30 minutes. I'm curious. I'm gonna share my screen here of your project. We're gonna chat about it a little bit, and then I mean, this is the place where you can catch Civil and come in and support. Even if you don't have any money, you can come in, make an artisan account, participate in the boost, and come here and press the boost button as well. Whether that's by participating in events or by funding other projects. So. Do you want to say any words before we scroll through this a little bit?
Oh boy.
Do you want me to just rock out with what I see here initially and things
I actually would
I've
love to
seen?
hear comments. I mean, it's definitely work
Yeah,
in progress.
perfect.
um
So
it's
one of the
actually we might do something fun on the stream.
perfect. Well, I will share it while you're doing whatever you're doing and just cut me off whenever. How about that?
Okay.
So this is Civil's project, CivilMonkey ecosystem weaving. I've known Civil for a while, so for me, immediately, no, whatever Civil's doing, I'm gonna get involved in. But a very important
I'm
thing
curious,
is how you display.
why is that? You're saying that like it's obvious, but like
For me,
why?
yes. Okay. Um, the regen and DAO space is a place that and public good space as a whole is a place that takes a lot of it takes a lot out of people without giving a lot immediately in return of like short-term value, and you've done that time and time again. So for me to want to do things to come in and support you, I know that you have whatever it is, whatever I can see, a larger plan to kind of make that go as far as it can, because I've seen that be actions that you've taken in the past.
Hmm, hmm.
And Jimbo Mage said, "This is Meme for Trees. I know I appreciate Civil doing all the introductions he does." And that's another reason you've introduced me to so many amazing people as well. And that's been an amazing. And curious, we can also talk about our noun experience, whether that's now or another time. But that's also been another part, right? Of like that additional. You just said a great way to add trust is by meeting someone in person for many different reasons, but we've never met each other in person, but we've done conversations like this on camera now live, which is awesome. And adding to that, like earned media as someone, oh, he's changing it. I love it. Um, Earned media is something that Candy Toy Box is talking about a lot, and I think that's something that I'm excited to come in and help support with here with different artisan projects that are part of my fund, which can lead us to a great point of I can just explain real quick a few things about Artizen. Right now in season 7, there are two types of individuals that are supporting different things: people that have funds and people that have projects. Many individuals out there on Artisan have projects. Like Civil said, for quite some time, he was just a lurker and a supporter who didn't have a project. As well, I was lucky enough to start a ZOW fund to start then creating projects under the ZOW to come in and support, where we accepted a lot of projects in season 6, but here in season 7 we're doing a push for projects that want to be a part of the ZOW fund, jumping on just kind of like Civil is doing here and sharing a little bit of what their project is, why they're passionate about their project, and things that we can help them with and come in with. So the goal is always to create some earned media for those individuals, add them as a part of the fund, and like you said earlier today, help create a part of that game, a support system in the game of what Artisan is with the ZOW Fund, and finding ways to play the game together. Look at that. It's alive. I didn't even actually refresh. That's pretty cool. Play the game together as a part of the Zao Fund. And Civil, everything you're doing in the back end in many different ways, knowing the different people there. I'm excited to add CivilMonkey's ecosystem weaving to the Zao Fund. A, because we met here. B, because I know and I'm excited about this project. And then C, because I want to add your expertise and capacity to what we're doing with the Zao Fund. So you just changed the artifact. I'm excited to hear what you think about it. I'm gonna share two like last things. We're in a big push here for CivilMonkey in this ecosystem drive. Every single week there's a new ecosystem drive in the Artizen ecosystem that gets you to see who the other top dogs are in the group. And a big reason we're doing this here today is actually because Civil has made a big push this week to get all of his friends and family to come in and help support his project here. So we as a group got 1 billion points on this Artizen project. I think first Artizen project ever to do that, which is really cool, awesome, and exciting. And we can see here that there's another project actively pursuing this last part of the week's fund drive. And we've raised some money from different sales as well this week in different capacities. So it's been an absolute blast to be a part of that journey. And I'm curious if you want to share a little bit about how today has gone, B, a little bit about your project as a whole, and then C, this new image that you've added.
Yeah, a lot there. Where yeah,
Why don't
that
you
was
start with the image?
the image is.
Or do you just want to say it's CivilMonkey and then we can always talk about more later? I
Does
love
that
it.
does that make sense? That image?
It looks great. No, I think it looks a lot better than what you had before. It pops a lot more when I come to the screen, and I immediately like will feel every time I jump to this page like this is your page, like at least for this season and the artifacts that are there. So that's exciting.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Big shout out to Jade. She made it from Matesha Tea Week in Lisbon in October. Yeah, and this. So yeah, today we as a yeah, I was super fortunate, honestly, like super grateful. There was quite a few people who wanted to support, and yeah, extremely grateful. I mean, I don't really. Yeah, I don't really ask for support many times. I've been mostly volunteering the last few years and kind of helping where I felt like it would be helpful, and then also like not necessarily hanging around if I thought it wouldn't be helpful. Um, and then actually one of the reasons why I even created an artisan project is because you could only get the boost price which you need to a project if you have your own artisan project. Like that changed like 2 months ago or 3 months ago or something, and so I was like, okay, I really need to create my own project now. And then yeah, more and more people were like, okay, yeah, this could be the way, like, to make sustainable what you're doing. And so for years there've been a few people who were like, oh yeah, you should apply to grants rounds, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm helping, I don't know, different grants projects. But the yeah, so today, I mean, like this week has been pretty insane. Like so essentially a few weeks ago, so there's a score, right? It's not so the leaderboard just on Artisan.fund. The weekly leaderboard, which is for the fund drive, every week is a fund drive, and it has a leaderboard, and there's leaderboard for funds, and there's a leaderboard for projects, and each has cash prizes for the top projects. And so on the first, the project that ended up on first a few weeks ago had a score of 49 million, I think. And the score is calculated, by the way, by sales plus matching in that week, multiplied with number of boosts, divided by 100. You can ask venus.artisan.fund or email her to get that exact formula as well.
It's actually right here too.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, they actually got a big revamp the website, didn't it? Yeah, nice. Very cool. So What I'm saying is, so okay, so that was to reach first place a few weeks ago. Then, like 2 weeks ago, the project on first place was 400 million score, and then and that was reached like Thursday, right when the leaderboard finished. Now this week we were already the first project was already over 100 million on Monday, I think. And then yeah, it just kept going up. I mean, last week I think it was 550 million, and then today there was a point when the project on first place was at 800, or was it 980? I think it was 986 million or something. And we were like, actually, a friend of mine, Rainbow Spider, was like, okay, first project is going to reach a billion score soon. Maybe we could be that. And I was, you have a point. That would be pretty cool. And so from 600 million score within like, I don't know, 1 or 2 or 3 hours or something, we, yeah, like reached out to a few people and had conversations, and yeah, it was like, okay, this might work, and this feels like a historic moment. And yeah, so we crossed that mark together, which was a huge. I mean, that didn't quite feel real. We just, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big moment for the artisan community as a whole, right? The fact that if you take those numbers now, you can actually see the growth on week to week basis of like we're hitting all time highs every week because like people are hitting. I mean, of course, there's other ways to get points and these all these other things and fun ways to get involved. But as an overall, like you can see the numbers in funding, right? Like each week is getting more and more progressively. So that's exciting to see like the growth of Artisan overall. So to be a part of that 1 billion points for the first time, and now it'll happen many more times. Will be a blast.
Yeah, I'm really curious how this all develops. Like this I don't know. Yeah, it's just getting higher and higher, and at some point we need to see like, well, how does this make sense and long term, and like I don't like wasting boost points. But yeah.
100%. Yeah, no, well, it was an absolute pleasure talking more Artisan. Is there anything else you want to add at the end? What's the best way for people to reach out to you? CivilMonkey, I know you do your civil notes. I don't know if you want to share a little bit about that at the end here as well.
Yeah, basically, so yeah, for a few years I just there was a lot of retweeting that my activity was online, helping spread the word essentially and curating things that way, which still on X, for example, was quite algorithm driven, right? Like many people just that's, by the way, that's the best way to get use of X, is not using the algorithm, in my opinion. I mean, just for a long time, just jumping through individual manual exploring, just searching things and looking at people and clicking on who they follow and who they interact with and comments, and just like manually jumping through the jungle. And at some point, your algorithm might even be good, but before that, yeah. Anyhow, so point being, at the end of the day, most people use X through the lens of the algorithm, and I wanted to make sure that there could be a more direct way, than going through an algorithm. And Telegram has already been a place that I've been using more and more, and so the same username like on Farcaster and X that I use, and Blue Sky and Lens. At CivilMonkey, I also have a more manual, not non-algorithmic channel on Telegram, where I basically curate links for most of the time. And yeah, I curate links, and maybe you like it. And I think the thing that I want to leave you with is always ask more questions. Like always,
Well said.
that's one of the one of the things I
Be
found is,
curious.
yeah, always, as long as you stay curious, you can learn and and achieve most things that you want to.
1,000,000%. Jose said earlier, it's because you're a data bus between blockchain nodes, a window of synthesis of information. I write songs and I do research to translate to Spanish, and I appreciate the time you put into it. Because if I drop the ball on something a year into, I know there's someone on chain taking care of it, and I hope you know it's mutual on the places we have perspective and vision. So yeah, shout out to you, Jose. Giving that big shout out to Civil, always cooking it up. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on my live stream, vibing out here talking Artizen, and I'm excited to see where we grow things from here.
Yeah, same here, dude. Thank you so much. This yeah, big honor. Thank you.
An absolute pleasure. Thanks everyone for popping in, listening in, and we'll see y'all soon.